You are now tuning in to the Going North podcast with your host, best-selling author and professional speaker and member of the John Maxwell team, Dominic Dom Brightman. And every Monday and Thursday we're going to hear the voice of a different author sharing their gifts, stories, and expertise to help you charge forward in life. Now let's get on with the show. And today on the Going North podcast, we bring you some fabulous humans from across the globe. Today's no different. Well, actually, today might actually be different, because we have a returning guest on the podcast house again. This fabulous lady right here was so popular back in November with the Turkey Day goodness and chaos to clarity goodness that we had to bring her back again. Because when you have fabulous folks on the podcast and they're itching to come back and the host is itching to have them back on there and folks enjoy hearing voices, you gotta give them what they want. You gotta give them everybody what they want. At least in this case, that actually works when you give everybody what they want. And today's guest is once again a 3-time breast cancer survivor, as well as a multi-award best-selling author. And she's also a fellow podcast host, as well as an international speaker and intuitive dream coach, the wonderful Special K herself, Miss Kathleen O'Keefe-Kanavos. How are you today, ma'am?
I am doing great, Dom. So good to be back on your show. And I mean, I don't know that we didn't really plan this, but I was on for Thanksgiving Turkey Day, and now I'm going to be almost on for Christmas. I mean, I don't know. Should I come back for Easter? What do you tell me?
Well, if you have bunny ears, maybe.
I don't know about me, but my cat certainly does. I'm a Siamese, has ears big enough that I swear he can hear all the way down to China just by putting his ear to the floor.
Ah, sweet. I should have known that the cat would find a way to dig its way over to China.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, indeed. Well, the beautiful thing is that so much content was delivered the past time. It was just featuring chaos clarity. This time we're featuring the coup de grace, your ultimate masterpiece, at least at the moment, where it talks about dreams that can save your life indeed. So how's it feel with all this mass knowledge and experience? Is that, in a way, you found out that apparently that the people of ancient Greece and Egypt actually relied on the art of dreaming to diagnose illness. That's interesting. So why is that, or how did that happen?
Well, it actually started even 6,000 years ago in ancient Egypt before it hit Greece and Rome. And that was with, remember the movie The Mummy? And there was Imhotep. Remember Imhotep came back as the mummy? That's who the mummy is, Imhotep. And he was the high priest to the sun god Ra. Well, Imhotep actually started the dream temples in Egypt. And what would happen is if somebody, let's say there's a man and he is thinking of pulling up his whole family and moving somewhere else in Egypt for a better job because he's not able to put food on the table where he is. He might go to this dreaming temple where he would lie down on the hard floor and he would dream next to one of the other priests, and they would kind of dream in tandem. In other words, they would share the dream during the night, and then in the morning they would wake up and they would discuss the dream, and the priest would tell the man what the dream meant, and they would compare their dreams. So this, or a woman, let's say a woman is not able to get pregnant, and it was really important back during the time of ancient Egypt to be able to have children. You had to have children. And so she might go to the dreaming temples and sleep on the floor, and next to the priest, and same thing would happen. They would have tandem dreams, and then they would compare those dreams, and the priest would help them decipher their dreams from their spirit guides or guardian angels or Anubis or anybody else who comes into those dreams to help them make their decisions for their life. Well, now move forward to ancient Egypt, ancient Greece and ancient Rome, and those became the Asclepian dream temples. They're still happening, and people would go to these Asclepian dream temples, and they would do the same thing. They would sleep in there, and it was really uncomfortable. We're not talking about a cushy, soft bed. No, you slept on the hard floor or a hard shelf, because comfort wasn't what you were in there for. You were in there to have a dream with your spirit guides and your guardian angels to guide you on your life mission. And the priests in the temples, in these Asclepian dream temples, would help you decipher your dreams, or they would dream with you in tandem, and then you would work on that dream together to get the answers you needed in order to continue on your life's purpose. And we also see in the Bible, believe it or not, the Asclepian dream temples are mentioned in the Bible, where some of the people in the Bible would actually go to those dreaming temples to get information. So they've been around a long time. And although we don't really have the Asclepian dream temples as they were back then, now what they've turned into modern day Greece is their spas. So that tells me that there's an energy there. There's an energy in those temples, or what used to be temples, that are really important in helping people to become healthy.
Oh, yeah. Heck, maybe even the dreams inspired the construction back then.
It could have, absolutely. I mean, people use dreams for everything, especially when it came to their health, because they really believed that their deceased loved ones could come into their dreams as guardians and guiding angels and help them with their health issues. And that happened so often in the book Dreams That Can Save Your Life, early warning signs of cancer and other diseases. Many of the authors that wrote their stories in this book, and there's 30 of them, had deceased loved ones, their deceased brothers or sisters, their grandparents, their parents would come into their dreams and give them really important information. And getting back to the Asclepian dream temples, where you're dreaming in tandem with someone, you're sharing a dream. In the book Dreams That Can Save Your Life, there were times where mothers would have dreams about their daughter's breast cancer and would call the daughter up and say, I just had a dream last night that you had breast cancer. And the daughter would say, no, you can't do that. You can't dream for me. If you had a dream about me having breast cancer, that means you have the breast cancer. And the mother's going, no, 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 I saw you. And the daughter would go, no, no, but you cannot dream for me. So the mother would go to the doctor and find out she was perfectly healthy. And she would go back home and call her daughter up, who was not living with her, it might have been in another state or another country, and say, no, this dream was about you. You get to the doctor now. And so the daughter would go to the doctor, and boom, she had the breast cancer. And the same thing happened in the reverse. The daughter had a dream about the mother having the breast cancer and called the mother up, and the mother's going, no, no, if you dreamt that, then you've got it. It turned out the mother had the breast cancer. So they were dreaming in tandem, which means the daughter had the dream for the mother, not for herself. And that's pretty amazing, because that goes against anything you'll read about with Freud and anybody else on dreams, because they say anyone you see in your dreams is you. And maybe they're right if you think about the fact that you came from your mother. So I guess to a degree, you're part your mother. But then there are other stories in the book where total strangers told somebody they were going to have a heart attack, And they needed to remember this so that when they were passing out, they could call 911 and not die. And that's exactly what happened.
Amen to that, indeed. Heck, it probably felt like a game of hot potato at the time.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, you have it. No, you. No, you. Oh, crap, it's me.
That's right. Yes.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. And heck, that might even be still relevant today, depending, I guess, on the situation in a way.
Well, I think people have been dreaming since the beginning of time when men lived in caves, when people lived in caves. I think that some of the drawings that we see on the walls of caves may have been their dream journal.
Ah, there we go. Stick figures ahoy. That's right. Even though the
Hmm.
sticks were a lot more elegant in the mind.
Hmm. Because I mean, how else could you explain having drawings on cave walls of suns and moons, which are what I call universal symbolism, which a lot of dream experts say people don't have. But the truth of the matter is, if you're having a dream and you see a symbol for a sun, which is a round circle and the rays coming off, that's universal symbolism for sun. You know that that's for the sun for the daytime. So I take issue with with them saying you there are no such things as universal symbolism. I think there are, and I think we see them in our dreams with signs and symbols, and they help us to decipher our dreams and learn our dream language.
I mean, yeah, you're definitely right about the signs and symbols because it's like, hey, we use the sun to decide whether it's day and then the moon, if it pops up, whether it's night or not. And heck, even Mother Nature, it gives signs and everything like that of like, all right, so certain things to come. Even with global warming, makes it act up a little like she may have had too much red wine. But yeah, signs still exist.
Yep, that's absolutely right. I mean, when we see a flower and suddenly that flower's dying, that's a universal symbolism for change.
That's right. And not no quarters and nickels either.
Mm-mm.
Ah, yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. So, what led you to getting all of this knowledge? Because I'm pretty sure you weren't always a dream expert.
No, I was always a bit of a dreamer, but it wasn't actually until the year 1999, and I was just getting ready to turn 40. And I had gone and gotten my yearly mammogram and physical and blood test, all the stuff that you do once a year to make sure you're healthy from the time you're probably around, I don't know, maybe 20. And all the information coming back from all of my tests that I was healthy, and to go home and then I actually got the yellow sheet in the mail that tells you your mammogram is negative for any breast cancer. And then I started having these really bizarre dreams, Dom. And in the dream, I'd be having just a regular dream, and all of a sudden my dream would freeze, just like a page on your computer. You know, you can't get it to open, close, nothing. It just freezes. And then all of a sudden in my dream, I'd have a pop-up, just like a pop-up window on your computer. And that window, I could see through it into another, like another page, but in this case, it was another realm. It's what I call the realm between realms. It's neither of the living nor of the dead, but where the living can go through their dreams to visit basically with the dead or another realm. And that pop-up window turned into a pop-up door. And through that door walked a Franciscan monk. I have no idea why a monk, Dom. I'm not Catholic. I don't have anything to do with monks, but I can tell you he certainly got my attention because he was in a brown robe and the hood was pulled up over his head so I couldn't see his face. He had a rope belt on and leather sandals. And he walked right up to me and he said, "Come with me. We have something to tell you." And right away I'm going, "This is weird. What is this?" And that means right away, it's turned into a lucid dream. I know I'm dreaming and I know it's weird, but I followed him anyhow through that door, through that pop-up door into the room between realms. And there were some more monks in there. There were 3 monks in all that were with me. And one of the monks took my hand, placed it on my breast, and said, "Do you feel that?" And I said, "Yes." I could feel like a little lump. And he said, "That's breast cancer. You get you go back to your doctor without an appointment and you get a second set of tests." So I did. I went back to my doctor and I told him I thought that something was wrong. I could feel something, and he felt my breasts and he goes, "No, I can't feel a thing." But he gave me another mammogram, another blood test, another physical, and the results came back the same. I was healthy. So this went on for 3 months, Dom. I had 3 different dreams where the monks walked through the dreams, took me into the room between realms, and said, "You have breast cancer, go back to your doctors." So the third time that happened, when I saw the monk, when my dream froze, and I saw the pop-up window, and I saw the pop-up window turn into the pop-up door, I started crying when I saw the monk. And in my dream, and I said, "I know why you're here, and I don't know what to do. I've gone back to my doctor every time you've told me to. He keeps giving me the same mammograms, the same blood tests, the same physical exams. If I have breast cancer and I'm going to die, and you don't want me to die, then help me, because I don't know what else to do. I cannot give myself a second set of tests." And the monk reached into his sleeve. They're really big, baggy sleeves. He reached into his sleeve and he pulled out this little tiny white angel feather, just like the one you might see on the floor that came out of your pillow. Nothing big, just little. And he reached out and he handed it to me and he said, "If you go back to your doctor tomorrow, again, without any uh, any appointment, just show up on the doorstep and you use this feather to cut through his arguments and tell him you need exploratory surgery, you'll find the cancer, but you need to use the feather as a sword." So the next day, all this time, Dom, I'm bundling up my husband too, because we're up in Boston and it's really cold. It's during the winter. And I drive back into Boston, which is almost a 2-hour drive. And if it's snowing, it's going to be even longer. Show up on my doctor's doorstep. And now he's looking at me like, "Why are you back again?" And so I followed him into his office and he said, "Why are you back?" And I said, "Look, I know something is really wrong. I know it's wrong and I don't know where else to go. You're my doctor and I need for you to do exploratory surgery." Well, Dom, he looked like I had poured gasoline on myself and set myself on fire. The look on his face, his jaw dropped, and he goes, "I can't do that. I have no precedence for it. Your mammograms are healthy, your blood tests are healthy, your physical exam is healthy. I can't operate on something I can't see, feel, or find on any tests." And I imagined that feather. I imagined taking that feather out of my pocket and I imagined pointing it at him. And I said, "You're my last hope. I need you to help me. Figure out how to help me. I know something's wrong." And it was almost like, you see all those vampire shows, Don, and the vampire walks into the room and says to the people in the room, "You want to go jump off the roof and land on your head?" And everybody in the room goes, "Yeah, I do. I'm going to go right up there and jump off right now." And they do, because they've been like glamour, I guess they call it. My doctor turns around, walks out of the office, comes back in a few minutes later and says, "I have an appointment for us. We're going to do the surgery 3 days after New Year's," which was like only 2 weeks away. And he goes, "Okay." And I said, "Great." And it turned out that during the surgery, I was so anxious, Tom, I knew something was wrong. That when I heard his voice, even though I was under anesthesia. I heard his voice say, "We got it, close her up." I dragged myself out of the anesthesia. And I opened my eyes. It was so bright in there. I was totally blinded. And I said, "What was it?" I turned my head to where I heard his voice and I said, "What was it?" And this head comes up over the top of my head, which thank goodness blocks the light. It's the anesthesiologist. And he says, "Did she just talk?" And my doctor goes, "Yeah." And the whole room, all I saw were eyeballs. It was so quiet. Everybody stopped and they were staring at me. And my doctor said, "It's nothing. It's what we thought it was, just a fibrostic tumor. Go back to sleep." And he said to the anesthesiologist, "Give her more." And it wasn't until he came into the recovery room and pulled the curtain closed behind him and came up and took my hand that I knew something was really wrong. And I looked at him and I said, "What?" And he goes, "Well, pathology didn't like what they saw when they cut open that fibrostic tumor." And I said, "Is it cancer?" And he said, "Yes. Now I'm going to have to refer you to a specialist." And it turned out I was in stage 2 breast cancer with it in a lymph node.
Man, oh man.
And I know that sounds like, oh my gosh, okay, so you are 1 in a billion. Let's say there's 6 billion people on the earth, you're 1 in a billion. Well, it's not, that's just not true, because within 1 year, we collected more than 30 stories in this book, Dreams That Can Save Your Life, of other people who had same experiences.
Oh wow. Hmm. 30 people. Okay.
30 people. And it started out when the co-author of the book with me, Dr. Larry Burke, was the chief of radiology at Duke University Medical. And as a chief radiologist, as women would come in with breast cancer for radiation treatment, he would naturally ask them, "So how did you find your breast cancer? Was it in a mammogram? Was it in a physical exam that you did yourself? How did you find it?" And they would look at him and say, "In a dream." And he'd go, "In a dream?" They said, "Yeah, in a dream. My dream told me I had breast cancer." And then I went to the doctor, and the doctor did some tests, and pathology reports confirmed that I had the breast cancer. Well, that just blew his mind totally. So then he found that he had 20 women within a couple of years who had the same dreams, that were telling him they had breast cancer. So he went online and started looking up other women who had dreams that diagnosed their breast cancer that was then validated by pathology reports. And he came across my dream with monks. And he called me up and he said, "Will you be one of my patients that I'm doing this dream research on?" He said, "Duke University is allowing me to do this study." And I said, "Yeah, sure." So he had these 20 women, and of the 20 women, only 1 died. And she died when she went to her doctor and said, "Look, I had a dream that told me I had breast cancer." And he did the tests and he said, "There's nothing here." And she said, "Well, I would really like a second set of tests." And he said, "Look, go home, come back in 6 months, and we'll do a second set of tests then." So when she came back in 6 months, it was all through her body and she died. Whereas the other 19 women in the book did not take no for an answer. They really self-advocated, and in some cases, when you read these stories, they were saying things like, "I'm going to tie myself in this chair right here in your office, and I am not leaving till you give me that second set of tests. I mean it, I'll stay here all night." And so they really made the doctors give them the second set of tests, and that found their breast cancer. But what happened is he got the funding to do the research, and when he was finished doing the research on dreams that diagnosed the breast cancer, he took all of his findings and had them published in medical journals. And I said, "Okay, so Larry, now that all the medical people know about it because it's in the medical journals, how are we going to get this information out to women whose lives could be saved by this?" And he said, "Well, I don't know. What do you suggest?" And I said, "How about we write a book?" And he said, "Well, the only way I'm going to do that is if we can get a conventional publishing house to publish the book, and we get an agent that will shop it around. And I said, hey, I've already got the agent because I've already got a book published. So let me write the book proposal, and I'm going to write a proposed book proposal and ask our agent to shop it around, and let's see what happens. So I gave it to my agent, and she said, it'll be about 3 or 4 months before we hear from anybody. 2 weeks later, Dom, we were in a bidding war.
Sweet.
And we were published on the bookshelves 8 months later. So poor Larry and I had to work like 24/7 for 8 months until we got the book written and turned in time to get it published on time.
Sweet. Congratulations indeed. Congratulations. And it's a good thing that you and the others that survived had the tenacity to fight the doctors and the other folks like, hey, I'm not leaving. I'm not leaving until y'all give me that second mammogram. I need to live here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and they did. I was so proud of the women in the book. They really, really stood in their power. They just would not, and many of them were very timid, actually. But because of their dreams, because of the people and the spirit guides and the angels that came into their dreams saying, look, it's not time for you to die. This is what you're supposed to do. You're going to go and make a difference in the medical community. You go back. They did, and they stood in that power, and they just wouldn't, they would not back down. And we actually have doctors in this book who sent in stories of dreams that diagnosed their illness, and they simply asked us to change their names because they didn't want to lose their jobs. But the women were really strong.
That's right. That's right. And in speaking of strength, what's probably the biggest, or at least the skills that you've sharpened in these past 20 years, in addition to your dream interpretation, since overcoming breast cancer 3 times and actually publishing multiple books? What's probably been the one skills you probably sharpened the most in these past 20 years?
I think it would probably be learning my dream language, really learning that dream language and connecting with my spirit guides in my dreams. I really do believe, Dom, that we are all born with spirit guides and guardian angels, and we're their job. And they really, really take that job seriously. And when we listen to them in our dreams, and when we see the synchronicities that they send us during our waking hours, and the little reminders that they're there for us, that we're important to them, when we see those in our waking hours, I think it gives us peace of mind that we're on the right path and that we're going to be okay no matter what storm we walk into, no matter how hard that wind is blowing, no matter how badly the ground is shaking. We're going to be okay. We're meant to be there. We need to be there. There's a reason we're going to be there. And if we just trust in our higher power that has sent us those guides, if we trust in that, we're going to figure it out. We're going to get it done. We're going to get out of that crisis. And we're going to be helping someone who needed us to be there to help them at that time as well.
There you go. There you go. And I'm guessing journaling's helped you a lot with your dream language.
It has, because by journaling, it helps with a number of things. First of all, it really helps you learn your dream language because you underline the people you saw, the things you saw in your dream. You underline those, and then you write down what is important to you about them. For instance, if I'm having a dream and I often see snakes in my dreams, and they're huge cobras, usually multi-headed cobras, I know that that dream is important, that it's going to have really important information in it. It's like a trigger to me. So I need to pay attention so I can bring the information back with me, every single little piece of information, because it's going to be important in my waking world. So I need to write all that down. Now, somebody else who's afraid of snakes, when they see a snake in their dream, again, they know it's important because it's a warning to them. For me, a large snake is the Kundalini, wisdom. For them, it may be a warning. Who's standing next to the snake? Where is the snake? What room in your house is the snake in? Is it in your living room? That could mean it's where you live, where whatever's going on in your waking world, your waking life. That's the danger. Is it in your basement? That could be something from your past that's going to show up. Is it in your attic, which is danger with the way you're thinking in your conscious level and your higher thinking level? What do you need to change? What do you need to tweak? Those are all important things, and you're not going to remember them if you don't write them down in your dream journal.
There you go. You probably amassed over like 100 dream journals at this point, probably.
I've got a lot of them, and some of them are just, not every dream is necessarily a message for your waking world. Sometimes you can have dreams just like you would go to the movies. It's just an enjoyable dream. It's just something that you dream to forget about your daytime troubles. You just need a break. And I'm one of those people, Dom, I really love a good scary movie. I could just, I just love, give me Freddy Krueger any day. I don't care. I love it. So when I have what most people would call a nightmare, I'm really enjoying them. So usually if my spirit guides need to get my attention, they need to walk into my dream through a pop-up door or a window, because Freddy Krueger, I'm just going to go get more popcorn. It's like, don't go away, Freddy. My popcorn's empty. I'll be right back.
So, do you ever wake up when you go to get the popcorn?
No, I don't. I just go in there, and the next thing I know, I got all my popcorn, and me and Freddie are rocking and rolling again. Okay, Freddie, who are you going to get with those claws this time? Let me give you a couple people I'd like to see you shred. And that's one of the fun things about lucid dreaming. Lucid dreaming, once you know that you're dreaming and you're in charge of your dream, you can control it. So you can actually work out problems that you have during the day, which is a lot of what happened in dreams that can save your life. They used ongoing dreams to help them sort through their challenges. So with a lucid dream, you could throw out into that lucid dream maybe a problem you're having at work and how to solve that problem. And then you can go through the dream trying all the different solutions until you find one that feels comfortable. And then you can actually try it, pull it back with you into your waking world and try it at work. And you never go to jail for doing anything in your dream world. So you got to be kind of careful what you do in your waking world when you take that back into your workplace.
So I'm guessing it was the purge in there, huh?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right, 12 hours of freedom. 12 hours of freedom. Whatever you do, it's all legal. That's right. When the sun comes up, the 12
Oh,
hours is up.
that's right. All bets are off.
That's right. And you're in the middle of something. It's like, oh, sun's up. All right, you get to live, buddy. And then just walk off like nothing happened.
Yes, that's right. Exactly. But you can do anything you want in those dreams. Anything. There's no limit to what you can do in your dreams. And so in a way, it's a way to get rid of your anger. It's a way to get rid of whatever's holding you back. Let's say you're afraid to go up and confront somebody in a positive, in any way, at your work or in your family. I mean, family dynamics. But in your dream world, you can try it out there first and then bring it back. And sometimes you'd be amazed at the problems you can solve in your dream world.
Ah, beautiful. So besides breast cancer, what's probably been the biggest problem you solved in your dream world?
Well, I would say sometimes here's an example. In my dream world, in my waking world, I was having trouble following through with my forehand on the tennis courts. My coach kept saying, follow through all the way around, Kat. Bring that racket all the way around your other shoulder. And I kept screwing up the shot because I wasn't following through. So one night, I'm uh, I'm in bed and Peter and I are sound asleep, and I had a dream where I needed to practice my follow through. So I'm back on the courts, and my coach is in front of me, and he's going, "Now follow through." And I swung my hand around and smacked my husband right in the face.
Oh, dang.
That gave him a heart attack. But by the time the night was done, I had a great forehand. I mean, now it is a total weapon. So you can really use your dreams to help you with whatever's challenging you in your waking world.
Well, the good news about that is not only did you get better with your swing, your husband actually knows that you're that he's in your wildest dreams. That's good.
That's right. He knows his money's going to a good place. He's paying for the lessons, and he knows I'm really serious about them.
Oh, yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Well, beautiful. So, with all these dreams, is there going to be another book coming out? Is it going to be a solo cat project, or is it another co-author project? What's next for the wonderful cat?
Well, Dr. Larry Burke and I are getting ready to start the second book, which means we're collecting dreams. So if you're listening to this podcast, Dom's podcast, Going North, and you've had a dream that was validated in the waking world. For instance, it doesn't have to be a pathology report. It doesn't have to be illness, because we're going to expand it this time. Let's say you had a dream about a car accident, and then in your waking world, you saw all the different things, maybe a stop sign, a woman wearing a red dress in your waking world that led up to the car accident in your sleeping world, and you got off the road and boom, there was a big car accident in front of you. That's what we're looking for. We want to collect your dreams that came true. So you can send them to me by email. Send them to my email, Katkan, KATKAN at Comcast.net, and just put in the subject line dream for next book. And I'll be in touch with you.
Ah, cat can indeed. She can do it indeed. That's right. Then you'll become an award-winning author, probably.
Oh, it would be nice. It'd be really nice. And if people ask me, well, is your book, the book Dreams That Could Save Your Life, is it only dreams? No, no, it's not. We have sections in here that talk about the rise of the dreaming e-patient, which is, every single person in the book was an e-patient, which means when they started having these dreams that told them they had this illness or that illness, what they did was they went onto the internet and they started doing their own research, and they became e-patients. And then we talk about the basic dream categories. There's like 7 dream categories, and then there's a whole bunch of subcategories under them. So the book is full of research, not just dreams. It's got research in it as well. And then there's even a part in there on how to remember your dreams, 7 steps to remembering your dreams, because everything dreams, whether it's a cat, dog, bird, human. If you're alive, you dream. It's not that you don't dream, it's that you just don't remember your dreams. So we wanted to help people remember their dreams so that it could make a difference in their lives.
Oh yeah, because it's a pain in the butt when you wake up and you don't remember your dreams. It's like, ah, darn it.
Mm-hmm. You just spent 12 hours and you don't remember what you did.
I guess it really was a purge after all.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Mm.
Woo. So, for those who may be a little shy to write and share their story from your experience being a multiple time author, multiple time best selling author, what's probably been the best advice that someone's given to you that you would like to share with others when it comes to writing out their stories, especially since they may be dreaming about one day writing their books?
Mm-hmm. Write from the heart. write what you know. So write from your heart. And don't worry about people judging it. Be true to yourself and then put it out there for others. Because remember, if you're writing from your heart, you're not writing to you, you're writing from you to them. And that's the big difference. So don't worry about people saying, oh, do this, do that, do something else. You do what's right for you. Follow your inner guidance. Use your dreams to help you with that inner guidance. And know that all the people on the other side are going to be rooting for you and they're going to help you with that project.
That's what I'm talking about right there, writing from the heart. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Since that's also solid advice, is there anything that you wish you would have done differently now that you're pretty much a seasoned contender? Well, not contender, but a seasoned champion in this whole book publishing and selling process? Anything you wish you would have done differently?
Well, I wish I could have found somebody to connect with and to help me in this so that I wouldn't be all by myself going through this other than with my spirit guides. I was hoping I could have found somebody in the publishing industry or the writing industry that could have guided me. It would have made it a little bit easier. And that's one of the reasons why Reverend Patricia Caganello and myself are involved in the Sacred Stories publishing, the books that we're doing together. So we're giving authors a platform to share their stories, one story, not a whole book necessarily, but a story at a time in our stories. Although Reverend Patricia Caganello does publish conventional books. So if you're listening and you are an author or you want to be published, definitely go to sacredstoriespublishing.com and look up what she does as a publisher and see if it's a good fit for you. There was nobody, that was really helping me with that when I was coming up as an author, and I wish there had been somebody who said, well, go here and look this up or do that, or join me in a book and let's get you published, get your stories published so that you can pad your website, so that you can show that you're a writer, so that you can get into online magazines and get a column, so that you can get followers and build your platform. And that's what Patricia and I offer authors. We want to give them a helping hand up, because that's really what life's all about. Collaboration. We're all about collaboration. We don't compete with anyone.
Oh, yeah. There's like no need to compete. I mean, you can probably be competitive if you want, if that's your style, but there's no reason to compete because there's so much pie out there for everyone.
That's right, absolutely. And that when you've got a good story, remember this also, when you've got a good story and you start to put it out there, people will find it. And the producers on Dr. Oz found my story and they invited me onto the Dr. Oz show. And I was really surprised that he kept me on there the whole hour. And I remember looking down at this big pile of papers he had in his hands, wondering, is that how he does his show? Does he read from his notes? And he waved it at the audience and said, these are her medical reports. I've spoken to all of her doctors. And so I know that what she's saying is true. And I was flabbergasted. I
Wow.
had no idea. And you could see the surprise on my face. But if you'd like to see that show, you can actually go onto my website to see it. I'm allowed to show it on there. I can't put it on Facebook. I can't put it on Twitter. I can't put the links on anywhere there. But you can go onto my website, which is Kathleen O'Keefe-Kanavos. That's Kathleen O'Keefekanavos, as a Victor, OS as in Sam.com. And the Dr. Oz show is there. The Doctor's show is there. Um, all the things I've done are right there. Just play, have fun on my website.
There you go. Put your bunny ears on there and your spider suit and hop on that website right there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's right indeed. Yeah, it's kind of amazing sometimes how sometimes shows on big networks and news stations they can just get access to random stuff, and then you're stuck on the show like, oh shoot, how the heck they get all this information?
Yeah, he had so many producers. There were producers that were just for following up on the medical information, and there were other producers that did other things. And I mean, there were like so many producers. They were all so nice, really, really nice people. I had a great time, and his show was, top notch. I mean, they sent a car to pick you up and flew you in to do the show. It was all very top notch. It was a lot of fun. Had a good time.
Ah, beautiful right there, beautiful right there. Pick you up in a limo, probably
Mhm.
play the "I'm Every Woman" song in your head.
Security's really tight, that's for sure. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's right. A tight squeeze indeed. A tight squeeze indeed. Woo! Well, since it's your second time on the show, you get the special question reserved for the returning guests. So, if you were called to give the final keynote speech of your life that the entire world would have to hear literally and listen to for generations to come, it's a 60 to 90-minute speech. What will be the main points of that message? So, smartphones are banned from this and they got to listen to you. Their full
Mhm.
attention is on you.
My main message would be that there is definitely life after life, and that although our body changes from lifetime to lifetime, our spirit remains the same. And in between lifetimes, those spirits that we knew from previous lifetimes are still on the other side. They're still our best friends. They're still our family. They're still our grandparents. And they watch over us. So when you think you are in your darkest hour, just reach out to them, reach out to God, reach out to your spirit guides, and reach out to your family on the other side, and they will be there for you. You will never, ever be alone. And that's what I would talk about for an hour or more.
That's what I'm talking about, indeed. No pun intended. Woo! Well, alrighty. Well, alrighty. So we're definitely gonna put all the contact info in the magical show notes. So any parting words for the folks still listening, Kat?
Have a wonderful holiday. And one thing that I always do at my holiday tables, whether it's Christmas or Thanksgiving or Easter, is I set an empty place. And I always tell God to fill it. Send the person that needs to be at a table at this time. And He always does. Somebody always shows up at our door. We've never had that space stay empty ever. Try it. Go ahead and try it. It'll make such a difference in your holiday when you share it with someone who might have been alone.
Hey there, buddy. Looks like you made it to the end of this episode. Since you made it to the end of this episode, do both of us a favor and stop being greedy. Stop it right now and share this episode with your friends and your fellow podcast lovers, especially those who have book clubs and want to listen to the authors who write some amazing books.